so happy to hear.
We're going to go ahead and start.
Okay.
This is episode 1 of the name of this podcast. I've titled it They're Here. And the only reason I titled it that
Yes.
is because I Googled podcast titles.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bazillion podcasts.
There are about a bazillion.
Everything I could think of was like, there was already a podcast for it.
Taken.
Like, I even found ones I was like, oh, this is a good one. And then it was like, oh, 2 episodes. And from like, like
2000,
20, yeah, way long time ago. I was like, but still, I can't. This one, super Googled, They're Here is not a podcast. So there's no like big deep story behind it. It was just like, that's what I found.
That's a good one. And how'd you spell there?
Okay, so that's funny you asked that because I actually the first iteration of the name of the podcast was There. All 3 versions of There
podcast.
But that was even like, that was coming up like some other, not podcast, but like some, there was like a bunch of grammar fucking videos that were made for that. And I was like, oh, if somebody Googles me, it's going to go to like this weird fucking thing. But so anyway, yeah, so it's there, like meaning they're here. Hey,
Here we
Jordan's here.
They're here.
All right. So today's podcast, we are going to dive into a couple different topics, but the main one that I did want to talk about is sobriety. So I'm not going to steal your thunder or put words in your mouth, but from my understanding, you were in a bad way. From my understanding now, you're not.
Yes.
So I'd like to dive into what was the bad way. What kicked off the bad way?
The bad way. So if I start at the very, very beginning, it took a long time for me to consider myself in a bad way.
Oh.
Right? So that's not necessarily saying that things weren't happening around me. It just took me a really long time to realize and accept that I was in a bad way. Right?
Are we talking years?
Years. Yeah, it definitely took a long time for me to realize that. I mean, if we go back to the very, very start, it started out as just experimentation, just, teenage experimenting, as most people do. It's kind of hypocritical, I guess, because I believe that us as people, we should be able to experiment with the stuff that's out there, but you also have to accept that there are consequences that do come with that.
We are able to edit, so I'm going to go ahead and address this real quick. What's up, baby?
Proceed. All right, so like I said, it was mostly just experimenting, right? My teenage years. The first time I experimented, let's say, I don't know, I was just young, maybe naive to what the stuff would eventually do to me. But at the age of 15 was the first time that I experimented with drugs, right?
With what?
Cocaine.
Your first thing was coke?
First thing was cocaine, yes.
No, not like weed or beer or...
No, that was shortly after. And I hated
Coke was
both.
first?
Coke was first.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
okay,
Coke.
You got a better story than I do.
So yeah, Coke was first. 15 years old, sophomore, high school.
Do you mind if I ask who'd you get it from?
It's some local gangsters.
Oh,
right?
so it wasn't like a family member or anything?
No,
Okay.
it's not a family member.
Mine was a family member. Yeah.
No. For me, it was just one of the cholos that we had. One of the electives was weight training, and they said, hey, you want a little bit of this?
Do this, you'll get better.
You'll get bigger and stronger, right?
Yeah.
So, did a little bump of that. 15, felt great. Didn't see any results in the gym, but, I instantly felt like, oh, this is good. This
is great.
Yeah, this is awesome.
With no education as far as, like, you had no idea what it was.
I mean,
what it does to people.
The stuff that school teaches you, right?
Say no.
Yeah, say no, and they talk a little bit about it, but at that age, you don't really know.
No, all you hear is say no.
Yeah, it's
Why? Why am I saying no?
Yeah,
because I did it and it was fucking
it was
amazing.
Awesome, right? Yes, for me, I felt immediately like, oh, this is where I belong. This is great. Why are they telling us not to do this?
Exactly.
Stuff, right? Then, like I said, after that, you know, I had friends who they drank and they smoked, and that stuff just wasn't for me, right? That was the stuff I could say no to, right? I didn't like weed probably for another 5 years after that. Yeah, I didn't smoke for about 5 years. And drinking, it was always, I mean, I had.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pause you again.
So yeah, drinking, like I said, we had friends that would drink on the weekends and stuff. That's the party thing. That's usually the introductory to most people. For me, it wasn't. I blacked out right away and threw up and was just
alcohol.
Yeah, and was just not
the first time you drank.
Yeah, first time I drank, blacked out, threw up, hated it. You know, just wasn't.
Coke was your first drug.
Uh-huh.
First time you drank, you blacked out.
Yes.
This is a great story.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, weed, again, it was the same thing. I think I got crossfaded probably the first time that I got drunk. It was a little bit of both. And I think hand in hand.
Close your eyes, you're doing backflips.
They were not for me. Those were not my friends.
Now, this isn't fun.
Yeah, but
let's get back to the Coke.
Yeah, Coke was the friend, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, at that age, I barely had, you know, I don't know if I had my first job then, but, you know, how they say first one's free, right? Of course, you know, so now I'm asking, hey, you know, what's up? Can I get a little bit of that? Oh, okay. Yeah, I have some. But this time it's going to cost you this much. Okay. So that went on very shortly. I feel like my periods were pretty quick because within that same year, and I probably even just a couple months after, he introduced me to something that was way better, that would last way longer, and was way cheaper. So meth, also at 15 was
way better and way cheaper,
and that's what was advertised.
Yeah,
right.
At 15.
Yeah, 15.
So you're like, Coke, cool. I mean, I don't have that same exact experience because I went meth straight away.
Yeah.
At 15, but the difference was meth first, then you try Coke, and it's like,
wasn't
like, what is this?
Yeah.
This isn't. I mean, I'm not like taking apart my TV and like figuring out how it works. You know, this is meh. Yeah. But so that's it's similar, but just backwards.
Right. Yeah.
But okay, so go.
So then, from there, I mean, it, like I said, it was kind of like seasons, you know, because at this point I'm still 15 and maybe 4 different chemicals in, and I thought, okay, some of them I like, some of them I don't like. What else is out there? Right. Exactly. Now it's like, now we're really experimenting. And again, seasons, right? So it was almost as if any new chemical that crossed my path, I was open to at least trying it.
For sure.
You know, whether I liked it or not, I feel like I wanted to see how they would make me feel.
So out of curiosity, where were you at with like your home life? Like, did you just have freedom, or were you like, everything you were doing, were you doing it super secretive, like sneaking away?
I thought so. You know, it's a progressive thing, right? So, you know, I say I started doing this stuff, but realistically, it's like, okay, got a little bit, okay, that lasts you. You're not, me anyways. I was not like coming down super hard off of it, so I wasn't really dependent on this stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like maybe once a month, you know, maybe once, you know, on the weekends. Yeah. If family was going away, I'd throw a nice sick rager at the house.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom. You know, and
so we don't have many viewers, but for sure your mom's gonna watch this.
For sure she's gonna see this. That's okay. So yeah, you know, it was more a group thing. Mm-hmm. At first, I'd spend, you know, my free money on it and stuff.
But you can't minimize the fact that you definitely were like, "Fuck yeah, I can't wait to get it again."
Yes.
Okay.
But when it started, though, it was like an accessory or an enhancement to the other things that came with it, because I feel like before I was introduced to this stuff, my circle of friends was fairly small, or maybe in my head I felt like I didn't have really strong connections, and for some reason it was like once I had the stuff, now I have friends that are there. Oh, now I'm the party guy, I can have parties, you know, so it was almost like it was all together.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But so Was the meth like the thing that? So how long were you on it?
I mean, maybe a couple months, maybe.
Meth.
Yeah, but like nothing too crazy. You
So
know, like
for total life.
No. So at the beginning. Right?
Okay.
So then from there, the progression, I guess, would be the next season would be, let's see. So high school, it was a little bit of that. Go back to coke a little bit. You know, you have friends that are prescribed stuff. So now we're, you know, well, I wasn't never prescribed anything, so they're trading me or giving me, you know, pills and, you know.
But even at that time when you were like, oh, you know, there was coke here and there, that coke, it wasn't your choice. You were just like, all right, it's there. I guess I'll do it.
Nah, because I feel like I was working by the time I was like 16 or so, and spending some of my paycheck on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so by the time I was graduating high school, it was like full blown. Like I needed to have something in my pocket at all times,
Or in your sock.
Yeah.
Somewhere where no one's gonna get it.
Definitely. Right out of high school is when I feel like I got into like electronic music, and so that was a whole nother, you know, run of doing like ecstasy and Molly and just all that stuff, right? So that was a good, you know,
friends of meth. Yeah.
Sometimes, you know. Yeah. That was probably for about a year, maybe 2. Again, shortly after that, it was just, again, it was just always anything that came across my path, you know, which was, it's kind of sad to say, but, you know, the only drugs that I haven't done are because I haven't had the opportunity to do them.
Yeah, know? So if I give you a list of like all the drugs,
yeah,
and then like the last thing on the list was other, that's probably the only one you could check off.
Oh, well, I haven't done crack.
Oh, you've never done crack?
But again, because I've never seen it or never.
Which is just like, I'm kind of ignorant, but I think it's just like a version of coke. Like it's just like the way it's made or processed.
Yeah.
But it's the different high, and it's the way you ingest it.
So I've heard. Yeah.
So I've heard. Yeah, I've never done crack either. I take that back. I don't know if I have.
Yeah.
Because very similar to your story, there was just like a time where if I came across it, I got a quick anecdote just to throw in here. It's kind of a funny story. I was in that same mode, so I could totally relate. There was a time where me and a friend of mine, I won't name names, but so we were in that mode where we were, you know, we just having a good time, and we ran into this guy. Seemed like a nice guy. He was like a friend of a friend, and he was like, "Oh, I have this new drug. It's like this amazing. You're not gonna believe it. You have to try it." He lined us up lines on the table, or actually on the top of a car. But we snorted them, and as soon as I snorted this line of like this, didn't question it, didn't even fucking really know the guy.
Yeah.
My sinuses just started swelling up, and then I got like all this like phlegm. What he gave us was a powder that it wasn't a drug. It was a powder that expands in liquid. So as soon as we snorted it, it just was in here expanding. And it was like a plastic or like some kind of polymer. And we just started hacking up and like we're blowing snot rockets and we're like, what the? This is weird. Like what? And he's just laughing his ass off. And we're like, I think we're supposed to beat this guy up. Like, is this?
Yeah, it's like attempted murder.
Yeah, this is not okay. I can't believe this guy. I don't even remember the guy's name, but I mean, Jesus Christ. But again, to your point, that's like, that's an incident that took place because of me just being like,
sure.
What do you got? Let's do it.
Why not? Yeah.
So keep going.
All right. So then from there, I mean, let's say the timeline, I'm about 20 years old or so. That's around the time that I was introduced to the one, you know, heroin, right? Yeah. So it was 20 years old at the time. I was talking to a girl, was dating her. You know, at the time, I believe that, you know, I was like head over heels with this girl at the time. I thought, we'd be together forever, whatever. So at the time, she, you know, we would hang out a lot. She was throwing up a lot because of the drugs.
Did you know she was on drugs?
No. I mean, I knew she smoked a lot of weed.
Okay.
But at the time, like I said, I was just like, super about her, so I believed her when she said, "Oh, it's nothing. I'm just sick." Okay, cool. You know what I mean? Just don't even, you know. I'm doing drugs, you know what I mean? And she knows I do drugs, but I didn't know what kind of drugs she was doing. I remember vividly, you know, the first time I did it, we were at the Block outlets of Orange, sitting in the car, and then she pulls out the foil, right, and shows me and tells me exactly what it is. And I was just surprised because I didn't even know that you could even smoke heroin, you know, at that time. I was just like, oh, okay, that's not so bad. They don't teach you that in school. Like, no, this isn't the stuff that they tell you about.
Which also goes to show, like, dude, growing up, I think we're 10 years apart. How old are you?
35.
Yeah, we're 10 years, we're 10 years apart, exactly. But I grew up, same thing, like, ignorance. Nobody's telling us like all the details and the really actually, you know, real quick, Alexa, off. We could get copyrighted because we got Tay-Tay going on in the background.
No, don't want that.
But yeah, we complete ignorance. Like, and to your point, like you're like, oh, I didn't even know I could smoke it.
Yeah.
What shouldn't we be teaching our kids like all iterations of what takes place?
I think so. You know, I mean, especially at this time, you know, nowadays everything is so much more accessible. I feel like with the internet and just everything is so much more fast paced that whether you see it as good or bad, the information's out there, and it's either you that's going to be teaching your kids that or somebody else or the internet. And I feel like if you can get ahead of it and you have, you know, you have a platform to teach the people that come after you, I think that you need to use that properly. For you know, sure. I think if you're afraid of being too graphic and all of that, well, you know, it's either you let them know now, or, you know, I'm not saying everybody's story is going to be the same, but you're going to find some people with similar stories to ours where you're just ignorant about the stuff and you're almost blindsided because in that moment, in a moment of passion or just being naive about it, you know, you're completely defenseless about it. At least if you were prepared a little bit beforehand coming up to it, I think in that moment when you're, you know, forced to make a split decision, you have a little bit more defense in saying, you know what, I think I'm good, you know? So.
Yeah, it's really difficult for someone. Like, I've always told my kids, this is what Dad did. Like, I never candy coated it. There was my ex-wife always had an issue with it, you know, where I would say stuff and she'd be like, no, don't tell the kids that. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, that's your, you know what? And you're right. That's your relationship with them. I won't say you did this or whatever.
Right.
But Dad did.
Yeah.
Dad did for sure. And Dad did this, that, and the other. And I'll tell you exactly what it was, exactly what it felt like, and exactly what it led to. And so, beware.
Yes,
you know,
definitely beware.
And not only that, but I was always of the idea that I never wanted to be like 45 and have my 24-year-old be like, "You did what?"
Yeah.
And then, or during the time when I'm like, you know, giving him shit about doing stuff, for them to just be blindsided, like, you know, when someone tells them something or they find out and they're like, you told me not to do that, but you fucking, what the hell, you did it too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let's just start this with a foundation of trust. This is where I came from, this is where it is, and this is why I'm telling you not to do it, you know? And
speaking from experience.
I don't think I ever had that. I mean, not to say, my parents were great. Like, you know my parents. My parents were fucking great. Like, all the aunts and uncles and teachers and everybody all telling me, don't do drugs. They were right. But why was the thing? Yes. And I'm like, not only that, but I was completely anti-authority. Like, you fucking tell me not to do it, I'm going to fucking do it.
Right.
Like, if I want to go fucking sweep my garage right now, I walk over there to do it, and you go, hey, go sweep the garage. I'm not doing it.
I'm good.
There's something inside of me that's like a fucking disconnect. Like, I can't, and I've had that since birth. So all it was don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah.
I want to know why. I want to know what it feels like.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Keep going.
I think also too something that goes. So that's a very good point. You know, the reason why, and I also think that where the misinformation comes in is these blanket statements or these blanket images of what the addict looks like, right? Because for me, I was very misled for a very long time, where believing that, oh, an addict is homeless, an addict is a gutter drunk, you know, a addict cannot hold a job, all of these things, right? An addict is broke and on the side of the road asking for spange, you know, and that's not true. That's not true at all. So that those definitions that I was taught in school completely altered, you know, it was what I thought was an addict. That was not me.
Yeah, I'm not an addict.
No, how could I be?
I have a job.
I have a job. I got money in my bank account. Yeah. You know, I have relationships. You know,
I have a bed.
I have an apartment. You know, I have a job. I have all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so why? No, I'm not an addict.
Yeah.
I have everything under control.
Did you still have that thought though? We're right at this point in your story, we're in the heroin days, right?
Right. So about 20 years old. It would take another 7 years for me to realize that, oh, maybe I'm messing up a little bit.
Oh shit, a little bit. 7 years in.
7 years.
What's the frequency of being actually high during that 7 years?
Again, so it's a progressive thing. So, you know, every once in a while, you know, I'm not buying it myself. The girlfriend at the time has it, and I'm really just depending on her. But eventually, it was a quick progression to the point where it became almost an everyday thing, and then eventually multiple times a day. And then now when I don't have it, oh, this sucks. So, yeah, that was
physically, mentally, everything.
Physically, mentally, you're feeling sore. You know, you're feeling just awful in your body when you don't have it. Dependent enough to where I would have to wake up, go to work because I'm still keeping a really good job at this time. But most of all my free money or all my spending money is going to
fixed
to keep the habit up.
Yeah.
Right. And now it's like, okay, before, you know, I'd get high, go to work. The whole day at work, cannot wait to go home because I know the first thing I get home is I'm going to have somebody waiting at the place with drugs for me. Right. To eventually like, oh, I can't even make it a full day at work without getting high. Now I need to take drugs to work to stay high throughout the day. And yeah,
Hey, Press, do me a favor. Put the video. You gotta turn the volume completely down on that. These microphones are picking that up too. They're real sensitive. So, do you mind me asking, what was the method?
That for that 7 years, it was just smoking.
Off of foil.
Yeah.
So you just
I mean, and then I guess like even some dabs maybe, you know. But good old faithful is just chasing the dragon.
Chasing the dragon. So I never smoked heroin. I never actually did heroin.
Don't.
I actually. So I heard many stories about like all the drugs that were like, don't do it. I'm like, all right, but then because of my experience with everything that I had done, I thought to myself, I don't really want to give myself another thing that I can't stop.
Right.
So we'll just stick to meth.
Yeah.
But also I heard, you know, because like the stories you hear about people that do heroin, I honestly, and I'd like to hear your version of it, but I don't even know what the high is. Like for me, meth, that high was the high that I sought after. Like I'm an alcoholic to this day, and I still drink. I'm drinking on a sobriety podcast.
Yeah.
But I never liked weed. I fucking hated weed. Like the high of weed, I did it for, I don't know, 10 years. And just because everybody's doing it, like, oh, we're hanging out, we're doing weed, let's smoke. Okay, we're smoking, all right, whatever. When's the meth coming? Is it, you know, like, okay, but I hated it. It made me paranoid, and I'm a super lightweight.
Yeah.
One fucking puff, and I'm like,
tipsy.
Yeah, I'm paranoid. My heart's beating. It's like crazy. I fucking hated it. I hated that. I hated coke. I loved meth. I love acid. I love mushrooms. All the stuff that would get me to like this like happy place that's what I sought after. You know, alcohol was great, but it just wasn't the level of like meth. Meth was like God, you know?
Yeah.
But as far as heroin goes, never tried it. Is there a way you can describe?
You know, the big consensus or the thing that people say is, you know, oh, you feel like a nice big warm blanket wrapped over you. I don't know. The first time I did it, I threw up. I felt like crap, you know. But when I first started, so
went back for more.
So the heroin changes, right? So at the time that I started smoking, it was what they call brown sugar, right? So taste-wise, a little sweet, kind of tasted like a ham on Christmas morning. I don't know. It kind of
shut the fuck up. It was like
no
way.
A little bit sweet. And I guess it's like a nice warmness. I don't know. I wasn't even a downer person, really. Like, I felt like I enjoyed uppers more, but the feeling, I felt more active. And that's, I guess, how opiates will usually affect you in the beginning stages is you almost, so it's for sure a feelings of euphoria, not the kind that you get from like ecstasy or Molly or anything like that, but just a sense of euphoria. It's almost kind of like a haze, I guess a warmness, but that was like the brown sugar.
Did you go to work on it?
Yes.
Oh, because so does the high diminish in like value? Is there a point where you're like, I'm just doing it and now I feel normal?
Yeah, so you get there eventually, right? So the progression was from the bees, the brown sugar, eventually. So if you're dependent on it, then you're taking whatever the dealer gives you, right? At that point, you know. So if whatever's coming in here, whatever kind of drugs are coming in, you're not just like, oh, you don't have any? I'm good. You know, okay, cool. I guess I'm not getting high anymore. No, it's like, okay, well now we don't sell that anymore. We have black tar now. It's like, okay, this tastes fucking awful. This is not good, but it's way stronger. So almost comparable to like the cocaine and the meth a little bit. From the original to the black tar was like a night and day difference. At the beginning, it felt like, oh, you smoke a little bit and it lasts a little bit longer, but the taste is just disgusting. But you build up the tolerance to it, right? It's crazy because like your body gives you all the signs that you should not be doing this, right? It's like the first time you hit it, I mean, for me, it's like you gag right away. You were like about to throw up. Your body almost rejects it, right? And you're almost, for me, it's like I'm almost forcing myself, oh no, you're gonna smoke this and you're gonna get high and you're gonna like it, you know? and yeah, that was the black tar. So the progression from the bees to the black tar was maybe about a year and a half, maybe 2 years or so from that to that. And by that time, it's using it at work. Now I'm lying about it. By that time, I was in another relationship with somebody else, and I was very secretive about it. You know, she told me to at the beginning of that relationship to just be honest with her, and like she would accept me for who I was. But I don't know if it was just, if it's just selfishness, or if it was just embarrassment of the addiction, or just the thrill of having secrets, because it's a lifestyle, right? And yeah, that it came between us on more than one occasion, for sure.
Yeah, that's just not one first date. You're like, oh, by the way, I do heroin.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like it's definitely secretive.
Yeah, nice
like,
icebreaker. You know?
Like again, I never did heroin, but I was for sure secretive with my meth. Mm-hmm. But it's funny because it's like, I don't know how I wasn't super strung out for that long. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe there was probably like a 3-year stint where I was just like on it every day.
Yeah.
During that time, if you were to talk to anybody that knew me at that time, mm-hmm. they're like, yeah, you weren't hiding it, dummy.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was.
Oh yeah, you're like the most secretive person there is.
Yeah, like nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is like, there was a time, I think it was around like 18, 19 years old, where I was real strung out, and every one of my, you still, at that age, you still have your group of high school friends. So mm-hmm. It's like you still have this like big group of friends. It was a common thing for them to be like, "Fuck tweakers," but Anthony's cool. Because I was that guy that was like, I was on it, but I wasn't in that world of those people that were like, like the gutter punks that were just like stealing from people and
helping them look for it.
Exactly. You know what's funny is I actually knew somebody. I witnessed somebody do that, and it wasn't because they were on meth. It was just because they were a fucking a real low life person. So, and I don't know if that person will watch this podcast, but if they do, they know who I'm talking about. But anyway, so okay. Actually, I was curious. Yes. So, was there did you have like a? Was there like some kind of social circle of heroin addicts that would get together and like hang out, or were you just independent?
I mean, for me at the beginning, it was the relationship, right? So it was me and the girlfriend at the time, and you can't be dependent on one dealer because dealers go to jail.
Yeah,
dealers, they go dry, right? So I guess the circle is, no real lasting relationships or anything like that, but you're definitely introduced to people. You kind of see the different behaviors, and you can tell, you don't really want to associate. Me personally, I didn't want to really associate with anybody but the drugs and the girlfriend and whoever is supplying the stuff, and not even really associating with them. Just give me the stuff and I'll be on my way.
Yeah, I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah, the circle was very, very
loser.
small. Yeah. I mean, I hung out with friends who drank and smoked, socially, just total normies. And I'm like you. I thought that I was slick, I mean, I was, like I said, using the whole time. To what extent do they know? I mean, they knew I was struggling because, you can see it, right? Physically, you can tell, right?
Well, there was, I don't know where this lands on your chronology, but there was that one time where me and Joseph took your dad to a Guttermouth show at the Yost, and we stopped by the house to pick your dad up, and I come downstairs in the garage,
yes,
and it's you, a girl. There's a girl in the stairwell, and she's coloring. And then there's like your other buddies. There's like two other buddies. Was it you?
No.
Okay. Because you're giving her a look. I'm like, oh God.
No.
Yeah. No, there was a moment, and I walked downstairs. It was you and three people, and you were in the garage, and you were acting out your fucking mind. And I was like,
sounds about right.
So like your girl's like the girl, she's like drawing and she's like looking up and she's like drawing and she's like looking up.
Just a masterpiece.
And then I'm like talking to you. Your buddy just like picks up a broom and starts sweeping, and I'm like, the fuck? And then your other buddy won't look at me. He's like looking off in the thing. Like, and then you're like, I'm talking to you and I'm like, hey, we're gonna go to Guttermouth show. You should go. And you're like, no. And you're acting. To me, that was like it seemed like a meth thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
It probably was at that point.
It could have been.
If at that period, I think I was using both. I think that was my drug of choice.
This was like maybe even 15 years ago. It was a while ago.
So if I was in the garage, right?
Yeah.
So I was living in the garage, right?
Maybe.
So if I was living in the garage and there was that many people, that meant there was a lot of drugs there. Yeah, so that's and it was probably both. It was probably heroin and meth.
You guys were acting like you were on meth. I didn't really know the heroin signs, but those were meth signs for sure.
Yeah.
So I run upstairs, and Joseph and your dad are right there, and I go, hey, Frank, I don't know how much you know, but everybody down there is high right now. And Joseph, our cousin,
yes,
he's been on the podcast, but he gets mad at me.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, what the fuck? You fucking ratting on your cousin. And I'm like, hold on a second, dude. Like, I'm a dad.
Yeah.
I'm a dad, and I have kids that are like, I'm like, I'm telling Joe, I'm like, if you fucking come to my house and you see that and I don't see it, you better fucking come and tell me. You better come up and fucking talk to me, because this isn't no fucking third grade or we're not in the pen.
Right.
Like, this isn't fucking,
snitches get stitches.
Yeah, snitches get stitches. This is family.
Yeah.
This dude is
out of his mind.
Something's going on, and who's the person that's in charge of this? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna talk to him. Yeah. I'm be like, hey man, and I don't know where it went from there. I don't know if he ever came down and confronted you about it. I just know that I passed on the information, and I was a little uncomfortable about it, but I was like, I'm not just gonna walk away and just be like,
everything's cool.
Everything's cool, but.
Yeah, so at that point, like I said, if there was a couple people there, I mean, I feel like I somewhat remember, but it's a little hazy, right? If I was in the garage, I was probably living there. I lived out of that garage for about 4 years, and that was probably the lowest point was those 4 years of just living out of my parents' garage, struggling just to get high, because at that point I felt like I mean, it was obvious that my life around me was crumbling, right? All those things I talked about, you know, the girl, the apartment, the job, the money, slowly but surely, one by one, started going away.
Uh-oh.
To where I had no other resources but to come back home with my tail between my legs and ask mom and dad for some help.
Yeah.
You know, but the kind of help that I was asking for was, you know, I just
give me money.
I just need a roof over my head.
Oh, okay.
You know, you know, so they allowed me to come back and live out of that garage, but for a little too long. You know, I mean, at no fault to them at all. It took a long time for me to get my stuff together. There would always be these maybe false instances of hope, probably, where maybe it seemed like I was getting better. I know you're a father, so I'm sure you just want to see, you know, your kids doing the best they can, right?
Yeah.
You just want to see them succeed. And for me, I felt like it wasn't intentional, but I had no real, I wasn't getting sober, right? I didn't have no intention on truly getting better, right? I feel like at the time, you know, at that time, the cycle is, you know, you get high, and then, at least for me, I'd get high, and it would be like, man, this is awful, you know?
While you're high?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
This is just like, it's almost like a moment of clarity, you know, where you're just like, man, like, how long am I going to keep doing this for? Things are not good. I don't want to do this anymore. But all those thoughts are when you're high, when you're feeling good,
mm-hmm.
right? And then you start crashing a little bit, and then it's like, I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm going to get sober. Yeah, this is going to suck. I am not ready to go through all this.
Do you ever, I've had this my whole life mm-hmm. of substance abuse, but I still have it to this day, mm-hmm. where I fantasize about lengthy time frames of not being under the influence. Those fantasies are appealing. They're attractive. Mm-hmm. Under the idea that they're in the future. Mm-hmm. So, like if I'm like, oh, I'm gonna quit drinking mm-hmm. next week.
Right.
I fucking love that moment. I love that thought. I'm excited about it. I mean it. Mm-hmm. But if you were to go, okay, but you're gonna stop drinking today. I'm like, well,
yeah.
I mean, did you go through that with heroin?
I don't think I was able to put enough time of sobriety together to really know what life was like. So the dream of being sober would have been unattainable because I really had no perception of what that was, right? Because at this point, and this is one of the things where that when I did turn around, it was one of those things where it's like, man, like I've been getting high and chasing this for about half my life now, you know? I'm not saying I was high every day since I was 15, but
that life.
I couldn't think of a time where I wasn't getting high or I wasn't sick from being high.
Yeesh.
You know, so if the dream is sobriety, I don't know what that is. At that point I don't know what's the point. You know, I know that I can't get high forever. I know that I'm either going to die from this stuff, I'm going to get locked up from this stuff, which did happen, or
talk about that.
Worse. So
you got arrested?
I did get arrested. So the first time that I got arrested was in 2017. So that is when, so timeline is 2010, started smoking heroin, smoked heroin as my main drug of choice, along with other stuff through that 7 years. until 2017. At 2017 is when I started shooting up.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And so took a little bit longer than most, for that progression. But in 2017, once I started using IV drugs is when my life drastically changed.
What was there like a catalyst, or was it just like a casual yeah, let's shoot it up today?
It's dumb. When I think about it, the real reason behind it was I was just ready to progress. I had been, like I said, my progression was a little bit slower for from just smoking to shooting up. The people that I did know around me, mostly everyone was past, smoking. They may shoot up and then, smoke on the side. But for me, the main source was smoking for a long time. I remember, I think that girl that you're talking about, the one who was in that hallway.
Yeah.
We were talking, a little bit. I don't even want to say a relationship because it was like you're loaded. You know what I mean? It was just like drug buddies, right?
It's all fake.
Yes. We got in some argument about something, and I already knew how to shoot up before I ever shot up because I had been around enough people to see it.
What was so if you have been around it for a long time, what was preventing you from doing it earlier?
Denial and ego and me.
I'm not that bad.
I am not that bad. I will never do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Just completely fucking with your own head.
Yeah. Just like this is cool.
Yeah.
Loser. And then
fucking loser.
Yeah.
Still getting high.
Yeah,
still same thing, but just not intravenous. But so is it different though?
It's different because it hits you faster, hits you a little bit stronger. There's definitely a lot more risks that come with it. But yeah, it felt like it was a stronger dose quicker.
Where do you get your needles?
At the time, Walgreens wasn't really.
Shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
they've really cracked down on that stuff now. But there's always the next lick, right? There's always the next. Drug addicts are gonna get high. They're gonna get their drugs no matter what. And at the time, it was like, oh, my mom's diabetic. She sent me. She can't leave the house. I need to pick up 1,000 needles right now.
But so that's. Did you ever use a dirty needle? Was there ever a moment of dire, I need to shoot up right now? That's the only one available. Fuck it.
In jail one time, I did.
Jesus! There's fucking intravenous drugs in jail.
Yes, there is.
How long were you in jail?
Not that long. So the first time that I got busted was 2017. I think I got. Let me see here if I can do the math. It was 160 days, but I got busted in LA, which they only served 10%. So it was really only 2 weeks.
Okay.
Which is not bad.
Could not go 2 weeks without.
That was not the time that I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was the second time that I went to jail where I got 90 days with half. So Theo Lacey, Orange County. 45 days in, and it was just one of those things where it was just like I had no defense at this point, right? I'm not making excuses, but jail wasn't enough to get me sober. If people had drugs there, then it was like, oh,
hey,
yeah, oh, that's the only way I can do them. It's either that or nothing. Yeah.
Not to get off topic, but when you went in, were there like, you have to join this gang or that gang, right? So you're a homie?
I am. I mean, I was. I don't know how you say that.
That's what it was.
I was.
I went to jail, and
that's who I clicked up with. Yes.
That was the scariest moment because, I don't know, you could have your version of it, but when I went in, I went into this jail and they don't tell you shit. They're not whatever, and they're. For me, all my tattoos and stuff, they were like, "Oh, you're on gang file," and I'm like, "I'm not in a."
I swear.
But what a little bitch, right? I'm in. There's a line of dudes behind me. I don't know them, but I'm so scared that I'm admitting to these people in this fearful way.
Yeah.
I'm not in a gang. No, I don't know. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I think it's no. What about that? What about that? I'm like, no, it's my daughter's name. I don't. What are you talking about? But then you go in. As soon as I walk in. Mm-hmm. They just come at you right. They just put me in a dorm. I was in Adelanto, and they just open up. They fucking swing open the door. They hand you a mattress and your little goodie bag or whatever, and they fucking put you in, close the door behind you, and right when I walk in, I'm approached by people speaking Spanish, and I'm like, oh god damn it, I have brown pride tattooed on me. I don't speak Spanish. This is not gonna end good. And I'm just fucking scared. And then the other guy comes up, he's like, hey bro, you're Mexican, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you don't speak Spanish? I'm like, no. He's like, you're with us.
Yeah, you're not with the Paisos.
I'm like, okay. Okay, cool. Not the Asians over there? No, okay, cool.
No.
All right. But anyway.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, it happens every time that you go in, right? It's the same old routine. That first time, though, I mean, it happened so quick. You know, like I said, it was like, 16 days or something, 2 weeks. So that's my first time, like, really, like, heavily kicking, you know, was like, because now I don't have.
How long do you go from high ending to need to have it again?
At the peak would be maybe, depending on how good the stuff was, 2-3 hours.
Jesus Christ.
2-3 hours.
So are you just under the influence all the time?
Or sick?
What's sick look like, though? Like, can people tell?
Probably.
Like, are you able to, like, hang out and talk, but you're just kind of feeling shitty? Or is it like,
no,
get the fuck away from me?
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's kind of like that. It's the second one for sure. So it's more like breaking out in sweats. A lot of people will start, you know, diarrhea or throwing up. I never really got that bad. But it's really body aching, restless legs. So you want nothing more to just like sleep it off. Like, but I can't sleep it off. You know, as soon as you start getting some rest, my legs just start.
That's the term, kicking the habit.
Yeah, literally.
Like, that's
kicking,
where it came from.
Restless leg syndrome. You're literally kicking kicking off.
So, but do you? Okay, so I'm sorry, because I'm super curious. But like, you get the kicking. You get the. Do you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've kicked it?
I think the closest or the most time that I could put together without relapsing, and I use that word loosely because it wasn't true sobriety. It was just until the next time that I could get high again. Maybe a day, maybe 2 days.
I've already kicked it.
So maybe 7 days of feeling like crap.
Okay.
Then maybe by the 8th day, feeling a little better. 9th day, and then by the 10th day, I'm getting high.
You're getting high again.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. So 7 days of just horrible existence,
misery. Yeah.
The whole time you're thinking, I can't wait to get high again, or conflicting thoughts like, is this the time I'm gonna get sober?
At different points of the life, right? That's the mental state, right? So to backtrack a little bit, when I said my life kind of, it really drastically changed it when I started using IV, was at that time because I didn't really have a job. Now I was doing things to feed the habit, right? So I'm stealing and selling stuff and
stealing from who?
Big corporations.
Do we agree? Like, that's like when you're on drugs, you're like, this is okay.
Yeah, the man. Yeah, he's not gonna miss it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna steal from my friends and family. Yeah. But if I steal from like,
yeah, I've never stolen from any friends or family whatsoever. You know, kind of.
Honestly, that's a badge of honor.
My dealer thought so at the time. He was great. I'm grateful enough that he kept me around at that time because I was somebody that I could trust. You know.
Yeah.
As much as, you know, I was an addict, but I had some kind of moral compass still. You know, I was a firm believer in you don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah.
You know, so. Once I did time enough times for stealing, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to steal to get high anymore.
Yeah.
So I may pick up an odd job here or there. I ended up clicking up with a dealer who I was kind of the middleman for him. So he would keep me high as long as I did some of the dirty work for him. Call them runners, right? So he tell me, you got to go meet this guy, go drop this amount off, come back with this much cash.
Did you ever like encounter like violence or anything like while doing that, or was it just kind of
no real violence? No,
it was just like, I'm a drug dealer.
Yeah, just a sorry little drug dealer. I was not a good dealer. You know, it was just like, let's get this over with here. Give me that money. Let's buy. You know. Yeah.
I'm not good at this.
Yeah, I was not good at it. I was I was selling for maybe 2 weeks as like a dealer, where like my dealer, you know, gave me a good amount of stuff to distribute, and that lasted about 2 weeks before I got busted.
Oh
yeah.
She's like, I'm not good at this.
I am not good at this. Again, should have took the signs.
Yeah.
Refused to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was not ready. I was not ready to get sober.
So you were intravenous after 7 years of smoking.
Yes.
And you said it was a transition of bad.
It was bad.
How long was the intravenous?
For, let's say, 4 years.
So we got 11 years of on the H.
Yeah, about 10, 11 years. Yeah, and then in the IV stuff was, it was heroin and the meth together. And yeah,
by all rights, you should not be alive.
That's what they say. You know?
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. Like, it sounds to me like, even though you kind of like, it's not that you're downplaying it, but you're being honest. But even saying like, I did it, you know, at the beginning you were like, oh, I did it here, a little, maybe here, there, a little bit. Still, you're on heroin.
Yes, stuff can go south, you know. But again, I was always telling myself lies, you know. I was always comparing myself to other people and thinking that I was better than the people that were around me.
Yeah.
Right? Because you asked too, like, well, how long is there ever a point where you get it and you're just like feeling normal, you know? And that's what it was for a good amount of time, for maybe the past, like, I don't know, the past like maybe 2.5 of those years was
like the 2.5 leading to the sobriety. So 2.5 years of just
like I just wanted to feel normal, you know. I without a true source of income, I was not getting high as much as I would want to. So if I did get high, it was really just to not be sick. So in those last, I don't know, like 2, maybe 1 year, it was really awful because, you know, getting high on somebody else's dime is not the move, you know. Being dependent on somebody else's hustle is not the move, you know. I don't recommend it at all, because like I said, it maybe, again, me comparing was maybe 3 days out of the week I'm sick, and then I just got the scraps of whatever anybody's giving me for free because I can't afford anything, and I'm pretty much tapped out at that point.
Yeah,
you know.
We're gonna do a quick edit real quick. I have to pee so bad.
Sweet.
Do you have to pee? Because we can go together.
I'm okay.
No. Like being pregnant.
You know, I would.
If I could.
But I'm good.
Yeah. Same, but here we are.
How often do you have to pee?
Oh, I pee at least 6 times a night, like in my sleep. Not in my sleep.
Just wear a diaper.
It's the heartburn that wakes me up, and then I'm like, oh, I have to pee, and then I like walk my ass to the bathroom. I pee like a solid full pee, and then you think I'd be done, and then I sleep for maybe like 30, 35 minutes, and then I wake up, I gotta pee again, a full pee again.
What if you just completely dehydrated yourself?
Then I'll kill the baby.
Fuck the baby.
Dude.
She's here for 3 weeks. Not cool. Not cool.
Okay, right back into it.
All right, so my wife brings up a really good point. She caught me in a bold-faced lie.
Shut the fuck up.
She called me out right now.
No way.
Yeah, she said, when you asked me if I had ever stolen from my family or friends, she said that you are a liar.
You've stolen from your family?
I have stolen from my family, but I have made amends since then, and I have been forgiven, and I think that's why, in my heart, I felt like...
But was it like there was like something on the counter and you're like, toot toot? Or were you like, did a whole like fucking...
No, I was just sitting there and it was like, well, this isn't being used. You know who could use this?
Me. In my vein right now. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no, but so this is what this is for.
Yeah.
Like, I love this. That's perfect. I can honestly tell you I've never stolen from my family.
Yeah.
Ever.
Better than me.
But, no. But as a kid, I didn't think it's stealing. And you know what? I'll tell you this. I don't think my kids think it. So when I was a kid, 16, 17, probably not 18, maybe like 15 to 17, right? Living in the house, it was like, this is my house. This is my parents. My parents provide for me what it's their job to take care of me. If I saw something and I'm like, there wasn't a division of like property, right?
Right.
It wasn't like, oh, that's my dad's. So I definitely, as a kid, I took shit. And then at 40, I can look back and go, well, that was probably not the best thing. But for sure in the moment, it wasn't of like, I'm stealing this.
This is ours.
It was ours. Like,
like I, family property.
Like my dad would have like a thing of change that like, because my dad's like that type of guy. He had like $50 worth of quarters, and it's like, are you kidding? You know how much drugs I can get with that? Like, you're not using it. It's just sitting there. Like that fucking, that's gone. That's mine.
You don't need that.
So I'm admitting to kind of I think a similar, concept. Like it definitely took from my family, but at the time I don't think I was really considering it stealing. It was like co-property, Yeah. But as an adult, for sure, I never stole from my family. I never stole. And then even like now that I'm older, it's like I'm kind of even a little bit weary about like, I don't want anybody to experience that in my house. So I'm even kind of like, if the kids leave something out, I'm like, hey, put that away. Yeah. Not that anybody in this house will take it. I just don't want you to have to experience that concept of like distrust.
Right.
So just keep it safe, Yeah.
So
anyway, so let's go. We're intravenous. We're at that 2.5 year mark before sobriety. It's the worst.
It is the worst. So again, a little backtrack. So at that time when I got busted the first time, there was some contingencies on, being locked up and being let go. Was that I had, I was going to be on probation, and I also had to go to rehab. So in between that first time from using, getting locked up to what I call the rock bottom, there was an attempt at sobriety in the middle of that I feel like is pretty important. I was required to do a 6-month in-house program. The only one in the area at the time was going to be Salvation Army. So I had to sign up for that. Again, I was on probation. It was a time for me to kind of reflect. I think it had its purpose when I did go, but I was also at the time not ready to get sober. It's weird. Addiction has so many different layers to it. At that time, being in the program, I finally could see a little bit of what sobriety would look like. At least physically, I was feeling better about myself. Mentally, I was feeling a little bit better about myself because I had some clarity.
How long were you sober during that period?
So the program was 6 months, and I stayed for 7.
Oh, Jesus.
Before getting kicked out.
For?
Getting high.
Oh.
Yeah. So I want to make it clear that I had attained about almost 7 months of sobriety at that time, but I've learned that abstinence does not equal sobriety. All right. Although I was not getting high, I was still not ready to live a life of sobriety. Through that program, I excelled super good. Didn't get any write-ups or, didn't get into any trouble that whole time I was there.
How old are you at that time?
I was, it was 20, let's say 18.
Okay.
From 2018 to 2019. I can't math. I don't know what that is.
I can't math. I love that statement.
I can't math.
It's because you're an heroin addict.
Yeah, that's what it is. I don't know. It was a long time ago.
So between 2018 and 2019.
2019, let's say.
Just to keep everything in the same, what year was your sobriety year? Like, for sure.
2020.
2020 is your sobriety.
March 16th, 2020.
Nice.
Yeah.
The date.
The date.
That's the date you were last high.
The last day that I was high was my dad's birthday, March 15th.
Well, I mean, you gotta celebrate your dad's birthday. So.
That's a funny that's a funny part right there. So
it's 2018.
2018. The sobriety did not stick because I was not sober. Again, I was just abstaining from getting high, but I hadn't really done any work on myself spiritually. I had no real tools on how to stay sober, and I didn't really understand still what my addiction was.
What was the program didn't give you?
So Salvation Army, again, it's a work therapy program, right? I believe it works for certain people, and it has a certain program. They really teach you how to become a good, member of society. They teach you how to wake up, a good routine, wake up at 5 a.m., whatever it is. They teach you, they give you the opportunity to build a relationship with God there. They teach you how to make your bed nice and, how to tuck the corners and do all that. They teach you how to tuck in your shirt. They teach you how to go to the warehouse and
the Jordan Peterson deal, like make your bed. Or never mind.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's a work therapy program, so I think it's good for certain people. But the classes that they offered were very limited on learning about addiction itself.
Okay.
They would go to outside meetings and you would hear people talk about addiction, but no real textbook on what was really happening. Again, that works for certain people, but did not work for me. The probation saw that I was excelling at this program. Hey, you have 6 months sober. Congratulations. We're gonna let you off probation early, a year and a half early. Cool. So now I don't have probation off my back. It's kind of sad, but at the time, I honestly thought that I was doing good. I had accumulated this time of abstinence.
But to be fair, you were doing good.
I thought I was.
There was you have a whole nother backstory with it, or you have like a whole nother thing. But don't discount that you were sober for that long. I mean, that's definitely a badge.
The thing is it was a hard lesson to learn, but the lesson learned was reservations. So even at the time, if you asked me and put me to a telegraph or a polygraph test, I probably would have passed, because if you said, "Are you going to get high again?" I honestly thought, no way. But addiction sat in the back of my head, and as soon as I completed the 6-month program, as soon as probation was off my back and there seemed to be no more consequences, the first day that they allowed us to go, or me to go off site to go look for a real job in the outside world, giving my phone back for the first time in 6.5 months, somebody hit me up and asked me if I wanted to get high, and I said yes.
No hesitation.
Jeez. No hesitation. I thought, sure, these guys trust me at the Salvation Army. I can pull this off, and I thought that I was slick. That first day that I came back high, they kicked me out the next morning. They knew right away.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So that from then, go back home, and then I'm living out of the parents' garage again, and it's not looking good for me. You asked about the last time that I got high. I had a pretty big blowout the week before my dad's birthday. At the time, I was allowing somebody to kind of stay with me in the garage, and he would continue to supply me with getting high. And the way that I tell it is, my parents know that I'm really struggling. My parents know what's going on. There's been plenty, there's enough time has passed to where they know, like, yeah, you're a drug addict, you're screwing up, you can tell. But the straw that broke the camel's back, I guess, was this guy came to the house with arm full of boosted power tools from Home Depot, coming home at the same time as my dad was coming home from work. And he seen me letting this guy in with all this stolen stuff, and that was it. My dad, he really, really leaned into me. He really let me have it, He
knew it was like stolen shit.
Of course, man. This stuff still had like price tags on it, There's like this guy weighs, he's like 6'2", maybe 90 pounds soaking wet, and has an arm full of Milwaukee, brand new stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, my dad said, if you're going to be doing that crap, I don't want you, he didn't kick me out, but even worse was he said, the only reason that you're still here is because your mom wants you here, because like they don't know if I'm going to end up dead on the streets. If you're going to live in this house, I don't ever want to see you again.
What a shitty thing you did to your parents.
Yeah, really, really bad, and that man, he's been with my mom since I was 1 year old, and it's a man I respect and love most in this world. So
I'd love him too.
I know, he's so great. Just so at that time, I don't know what it was, because I knew all the things he was telling me.
Yeah.
But at that moment, it was like just that moment of clarity. My ears were just perked up a little bit more, and those words really cut me. And I really felt what he was telling me, and so I said, "Screw this! I'm out of here." I gotta leave. I can't be here. I'm not welcome here anymore.
Okay.
Try walking to grandma's house. At this time, it starts raining.
From Anaheim.
From Anaheim to Placentia, and keep in mind, I'm dope sick because homeboy was coming with the tools so that we could sell to get high. Yeah. So I'm dope sick, walking in the rain. I got about, I'll give myself some credit, maybe about halfway. Okay. Before I had to call mom and ask her, "Can you come pick me up? Can you come take me to grandma's house?" And usually my mom is pretty, I don't say, she's supportive, but in that moment, usually she'll have something to say, or, tell me it's going to be okay, or, just some sort of like comforting words. And that car ride was just, she said, "I got nothing to say to you."
Oof. And
I was kind of like, oh, another one,
I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
It's kind of like that, So I get to grandma's house, and I find myself couch surfing. And I'm there for a couple days, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, where am I going to go? Like, there's no future at this point.
How am I going to get high?
There's really nothing. What's the next move from here? I did get high for, a couple days after that. But really, it was like, dude, I'm on my grandma's couch, like, getting high. Like, what the hell? It's so disrespectful. It's so wrong, I feel like I've always had the moral compass, but...
Was there ever a thought of your family history?
Right.
Was that something that came into your mind during those times?
There was times.
Not like it wasn't overwhelming. You were just like, yeah, every once in a while. It was
a thought.
Okay.
But the drugs are pretty good at numbing those kinds of feelings, Yeah, my mom lost her dad to this stuff when she was, I think, about 9 years old from what they tell me, and it wasn't enough to, stop me from doing it.
Did she ever mention that to you? Like, hey, you're on a path that we've already seen.
I mean, I'm sure she had to talk with me. I don't remember exactly.
No, I was high. Good.
But I know talks have been had. My grandpa Eddie, he had a couple serious talks with me. My grandma's husband, late husband, who also, he was also kind of a living example too of this stuff. He said, "Mijo, like, look at me, like, this is, he also struggled with addiction too, and sometimes you go quickly from the stuff, or sometimes it's it takes a little bit of time, but it eats away at you, and you let me know a couple times that there's nothing for you at the end of this path. You know what I mean? You're either going to just be, physically done for, you're going to end up in jail, or you're going to die from this stuff, Yeah. Again, the seeds were planted, but at the time I wasn't receptive. I was not,
So was there like an epiphany that, like, this magical moment? I think people fantasize about that. I think addicts fantasize, there's going to be that moment that I just go, everything's clear, and this is the moment I'm going to do it. I see it more of a kind of how you're explaining, just this long, drawn out, little seeds planted here, little seeds, and a buildup of like this concept of what do I want?
Right. So that last year of my using was my rock bottom, I would say, was that last year of I really was not putting in any effort to get high besides letting people get me high for free, right? And I feel like I wanted to be done so bad that last year, but I just couldn't do it, you know? There would be times where that guy that I mentioned, you know, would go out to do his lick, and I would just be praying, like, please don't freaking come back here. Get locked up. Go away, you know? Yeah. Like, but I did not have the heart to tell him because my brain's telling me, you still need to get high. You still need to get high. So after that blowout, I was at grandma's for a couple days. The moment of clarity, I feel like, was my dad's birthday's coming up. It's the man I, you know, like I said, I love and respect most. I have to say something to him. We haven't talked this the whole week, you know. I have to tell him happy birthday or something. Or I'm asking my grandma, like, should I call him? Like, I don't know. It's his birthday today. Like, I don't know. Like, I got to do something, you know. And she's all, I'll just text him. You know, probably doesn't want to talk to you still, you know. So I text him.
He for sure did want to talk to you.
I don't know. So I text him and I say, you know, happy birthday, Pops. I love you. I'm sorry. And he tells me, you know, just something so simple. He said, just take care of yourself. That's all he wanted for his birthday. He said, just take care of yourself. Ooh. And to me, I'm 30 years old at this point. Up until, you know, I always thought I could take care of him. I want to do this. I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
Is this the first time you thought that, though?
This is the first time that I'm giving it an honest shot because I had put it together that little bit of time before, but that was not on my own doing.
Yeah.
So I said, let's give this a shot, and if I don't like it, I don't like it, you know? So the end of the 7 days is coming up. Time to make a move. The next indicated step goes from detox to rehab, okay? So I'm calling rehabs. They have a nice, you know, they have a lot of resources there. They can provide you stuff. I'm calling places, and nobody is taking anybody. No, we're like, no, our facility is closed. There's just too much unknown right now with COVID going on. We are not accepting any new clients at this time. Shit. And I'm getting scared because I want to stay sober. You know, I'm only maybe like 5 days in. Well, on the day before I was set to discharge, after calling all these places, I even buckled and called the Salvation Army. I said, screw it, I'll go back there again. I'll go to the 6 month, you know, I hated that place, but I'll go back, you know, because I am willing to do whatever it takes. Even they weren't taking anybody. But this one little space, his house in the city of Upland.
That's the name of it? His house?
His house, yes.
Oh, Jesus is his.
His house.
Okay.
Yeah. Another faith-based rehab program there.
God, dude, I have to pee again.
That's cool.
I'm so sorry. I feel like we're really. She thinks it's funny because she has to pee way harder than I do. But real quick, so also I'm dude. We could sit here for 4 hours. I don't give a fuck. It's on you.
Okay.
So like if you're like, I'm good. We could wrap this.
Uh-huh.
It's all on you. I don't know what your schedule is. I don't know what you got going on.
No schedule. It still feels natural.
Yeah, so I feel
I'm good.
I feel like we're like in the good stuff right here. Yeah. The sobriety.
This is the good stuff.
The fact that so if I get this right, you had been going with grandma.
Yes.
Not sober.
No, I had put together. It was the back and forth.
Yeah,
that was a big part of my story too. It's having one foot in here and having one foot in the other.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, it was kind of.
It felt good for grandma to. It felt good for you to have that with grandma.
And it felt good to be there because the people and the relationships that I built with people there were genuine. You know, I still struggled. Yeah. But man, that place was special. You know, it's like you walk in there and you feel loved on. You know, and people when they ask you how are you doing, they really care. It's not just some like surface level, like,
it's not like,
hey, how are you? Yeah,
you good?
Okay, yeah, no, like I built very strong relationships with the people that were there, and I started to feel for people, you know, that it's like genuine people, and you know, unfortunately, like I said, I was still struggling at the time, so it's very short-lived. But I looked forward to going to those meetings eventually, right?
But I think this is really good insight for anybody watching. Like I said, maybe this gets 30 views. If one of those 30 people is watching this and they have some misconception of like what it means to get sober, this is what I want people to hear.
Right.
This is what it is to get sober. It's just long at it, you know, the grandma, the mom, the dad, the moments. I'm still getting high.
Yeah. But it was not just overnight. I'm cured. I'm fixed. Hey, you know what? I don't want to get high anymore. Let's do this. No, it took a long time to get to that point, you know?
But so now you're at his story?
So his house. So
his house, that's what it is.
So the cool thing about this was, called them. They said that 2 weeks prior to that phone call, because Upland is in IE, San Bernardino County, inland.
It's right down the street.
It's in the IE, right? They had just started accepting Orange County insurance.
Oh shit!
And so to me, it was like, oh, this is like, it's meant to be. You know, they have a bed available. They're the only place that's willing to. They just started taking Orange County. To me, it was, they call them God shots, right? To me, it was like, it was God showing me the next indicated step. Make it. Do it. Yeah. You know, you don't have to go back to mom and dad's garage. I'm giving you an out. You know, come see what the other side is like. And so I took the opportunity. I think I was the third client from Orange County, like that they had just.
How many people are there?
Let me see here. So his house was divided in. There was people that were there, like coming like straight from prison, and then there was people coming from the streets, and it was kind of divided up that way. We were all fellowship together, and we all like did our classes and all that stuff together. But maybe 15, maybe 15 of us.
It's a small spot.
I would say about.
You live there, right?
I lived there.
Okay.
So what was cool about that was this was my first real attempt at sobriety. Normally, their program would operate a little bit differently. You would be going to outside meetings. You know, they would take you on like hikes or take you out to events, I guess, you know, sobriety stuff. But because of COVID, none of that was happening. We were all on lockdown for the whole 90 days that we were there. But it felt different because I felt I was also on lockdown at Salvation Army, but the vibe was completely different here. It was a little bit more intentional. The way I describe it when I share is, it almost felt like the world had stopped
for you,
just for me, you know, just maybe a little bit of ego, but I know it's not. But what a perfect time to get sober because nothing else was going on in the world. You know, nobody was outside. Stores are shut down. Nobody's driving on the freeway.
You know what's crazy is, you know how many people in this world thought the exact opposite. Yeah, we're going through a moment where they were like, "Oh yeah, all this is happening, and it's to my detriment." Yeah. I'm staying high. I'm not getting sober because this.
I had friends relapse during that time because they could not handle the pressure of, you know, routine.
But in your world.
But in my world, it was perfectly laid out for me. Anybody who wants to give sobriety a real shot, I know we all have, you know, all the things that we got to take care of at home, and we don't have the luxury of, you know, not going to work. And, you know, if you got, you know, family to take care of, I totally get it. But if anybody has the opportunity to really just shut everything out and give it an honest shot, I mean, it worked for me. Yeah. You know?
how long? Like, I think I asked you this already, but how long until you were like, I'm good?
That I don't want to use anymore?
Yeah. Like, you were like, I'm sober, and I'm pretty confident I'm done.
I think in that like pretty much right away, as soon as I started, as soon as I was kicking and I started building relationship, I mean, I clicked up with some people in the program, and they were honest, genuine relationships where, oh, these guys don't want anything out of me. They're not trying to take advantage of me or get me high. I met Alex in that program, and he was the best man at my wedding.
In your wedding.
You know, so it was a lot of, you know, lasting relationships where I thought, you know, there's something more to life. You know, the cravings took a little while, but they taught me, they equipped me with those tools that I was talking about. I started building my tool belt. I started building my defenses to where if I felt like I was being triggered by something, or I felt something was coming my way, it was really me versus me at that time, because there was no outside sources to influence me. It's not like I had dealers hitting me up, you know. It was just my heart versus my heart, my head versus my head. And that program equipped me with some tools that helped me realign where my thoughts went. And I knew that I don't want to get high anymore, you know. And it became easier and easier and easier. I would still get triggered for a long time, but one of the things they teach you is you can't control the thoughts that come into your head, you know, but you can control what you do with them. Am I going to sit? Am I going to ruminate? Am I going to glorify? Am I going to glamorize, you know, that lifestyle? Oh, yeah, the sex, the drugs, the rock and roll, it was all good. No, I don't even sit on it. As soon as that thought comes in, you push it to the side, you know? Yeah, just gone, you know, I'm good. And it can, again, at the beginning, maybe it was a little bit tougher, but with no access to the outside world, with a heart that truly wanted to get sober, I think that I was done, you know. I knew I was going to give this an honest shot. And I feel like there was a lot of those God shots that I talked about, right? So that first one being, okay, the rehab is available. They just started taking the Orange County. You know, at the time, maybe I thought it was a coincidence, but as my sobriety continues, I don't really believe in coincidences too much. You know, I feel like there's certain things that happen, doors are opened, and if I'm in the right state of mind, if I am good spiritually and good mentally, I'm more receptive to seeing those signs. One of the other big ones that happened was I'm nearing the end of rehab. So it's 90 days. What's the move? What am I going to do? You know,
Mom and Dad's garage?
It was like my mom told me, you know, hey, if you want to come back here, you know, we could even maybe upgrade you to one of the bedrooms that you used to, you know. And I was like, oh, no, but no, I didn't want to do that. They taught me, do not go back to your old stomping grounds, you know, do not go back to what you know,
might
because
be a trigger.
Sooner or later, if you're not ready, you're going to slip, you know. And again, those words that my father spoke to me of just take care of yourself, I wanted to not depend on them. I appreciated the fact that they offered me a roof over my head again, but I didn't want that. I knew that I needed to take care of myself, and I needed to build my life from the ground back up. So nearing the end of the 90-day rehab, and Alex, my good friend, he's like, I think I'm going to stay out here, man, you know.
So just backstory. He was similar story, heroin addict, got sober, and then you guys ended up being, that's where you met.
Yeah, that's where we met in rehab. You know, we had same taste in music. We had very, very similarities. And he knows that, you know, at the time it was like, I think that we were put in each other's paths for a reason, because he's a real one. He knew, you know, he had a lot of the same music taste that I listened to, that I felt like was very, very subculture, that like nobody knows who these bands are. You know, you ask me what kind of heavy music you listen to, and you tell me, you know, Five Finger Death Punch or something, and I kind of
Korn.
Korn is cool, you know, those are OGs, but he knew like that underground music scene that was right on par for what I loved, you know.
And just so everybody knows, I don't know how many people actually realize this. That's extremely rare.
It is very
to run into somebody, meet them, and share the same, like you said, subculture music. Like,
in a group of 15 guys,
right.
He just got there 2 weeks before I did, you know, and that was one of the reasons, you know. It was like, dude, I can see there's good relationships out there for me, right? So when he told me, I think I'm gonna stay out here, you should stay out here too. You know, we're gonna his house offered a couple different locations for sober living, and he said, I'm just gonna stay out here, man. I don't want to go back to my old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I think I want to do the same thing, but how am I gonna do this? You know, like, it costs money. You got to pay rent. You know, and for me, like I said, I didn't want to ask my parents for anything. You know, I didn't want to ask them. You know, even though it was for a good reason, I still felt like, figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, how do you figure it out? You know, when you've been in rehab for 90 days, I'm not working, I'm not making any money. Well, my mom calls me. We talk, you know, on the phone time. She said, "Oh, you got a check right here from Wells Fargo." I'm like, Wells Fargo? I don't even bank with these guys, you know? And I don't know, man. Again, I don't believe in coincidences. Maybe I did this at some point when I was loaded, filled out one of, I don't know, I'm going to be incriminated here, filled out one of those claims that, you know.
that you got wrong somehow?
Yeah, right? But she said it's like some sort of check, something like that. Okay, well, can you open it? And she told me how much it was, and it was about maybe $50 shy of what the first month's rent was going to be in sober living, bro. And I was just like dumbstruck, you know, like, what is going on, bro? Like, a God shot to me, man.
Holy crap.
And, you know, friend fronted me the other $50 to get in, whatever. But shout out, you know. And
that story would have been so much better if you were like, it was the exact amount.
I'm not gonna lie. Down to the penny.
Down to the penny.
It was about 95%.
Look, regardless if it was coincidence, if it was God, if it whatever, what it meant to you,
yes,
got you to that next step.
Yes, it was. This is what you needed.
Yeah,
I have provided. What's your move? And to me, it was, without a doubt, sober living.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to sober living. And that was the next step. So I go to sober living. At this point, you know, I have 3 months clean. Mm-hmm. The next step is get a job so I can pay for the next month's rent. And again,
and you're not sickness and all that stuff is gone.
It's gone.
I mean, there's for sure, like, you're scared there might be triggers somewhere along the line. Mm-hmm. You're not so, like, super excited about. I mean, even to this day, like, I've been an idiot about, I don't know your whole story. I'm learning it now.
Yes.
And so I'm a little, at your bachelor party, I was a little obnoxious, and I think I handed him a drink or two.
Yeah.
But again,
as one should, it's a bachelor party.
I did not. I knew there was a story, but I didn't know, like, the extent of it, you know? And then when I'm drunk and I'm like, hey, man, have a drink. Actually, I think it's a little fucking obnoxious that I'm drinking right now. But
I don't even, it doesn't even, I don't even see it.
I think, yeah. So I think it's like, when was the moment where you were just like, go ahead, do what you do. I'm good.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because you're saying you're 3 months into being sober. At that point, could you go and hang out with people?
When did I meet my wife?
You're like 7.5 months.
About 7.5 months sober is when I could be around people.
Where did you guys meet?
We met way back when.
We were 18
years old, about 17 years ago.
Oh, so you knew each other. Okay.
Yeah, we knew each other. We had, you know, our path kind of split, took us on different directions.
You chose drugs.
I chose drugs for the next 10, 11 years, and, you know, she has her story about, you know, her past for 10, 11 years on that. And then, yeah, we came back around. She reached out to me at that time. asked me how I was doing, and for the first time, I could actually tell somebody like, I'm actually doing pretty good, and mean it, not just yeah, I'm doing good. Don't look at me though, but yeah,
don't look at me. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting combo there because you know, I mean, she's pregnant now, but
I'm an army.
Yeah. Your whole relationship,
yes,
you know, she's been the Anthony, the fucking drinking and you're just like, cool.
I'm not interested in alcohol or weed, you know.
But you weren't really even in the beginning.
No.
Your big things were the meth, the heroin, the like big drugs.
Yeah.
But you also definitely recognize that that's gonna lead to something.
If I do that, I know exactly where that's gonna take me.
Right.
And to me, I don't know. I was not gonna go out on a glass of wine, you know.
Wanted to have a good night.
Yeah.
Ended in heroin.
Yeah. What happened here?
So sobriety after the sober living house.
What did I look like?
Well, but then where did you go? Like you came out of there and.
So I lived there for maybe about a year and a half or so. So I stayed there for quite a bit of time.
Working? I don't.
Yeah. So my first Get Well job was door-to-door sales for a security system. Do not recommend it when there's a pandemic going around. People do not want to answer their doors.
I don't.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
Stay away. Yeah.
Stay the fuck away.
Yeah, I was not good at that job.
I had a guy come up the other day when I was mowing the lawn. And he was selling like pest control.
Nice.
And he walked up and he go, "Hey, are you working hard or hardly working?" And I kind of wanted to punch him.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I ever used that one.
I didn't. No.
Yeah, I was terrible at it. But the thing was I was willing to do anything and everything to stay sober.
Yeah.
And for me, whether I hated that job or loved that job, I mean, they call it a Get Well job. It's not your permanent job. I knew that I'm going to show up and I'm going to do my best. They're going to pay me, and it's going to allow me to stay sober and pay for my rent so that I can continue moving forward and build up a little bit of time, you know, under my belt. So yeah, that was my Get Well job. Went from there. I changed departments within that company. Liked it a little bit better. Stayed there for a little while, and then I guess fast forward about a year and a half, and moved out. You know, the time was time for me.
When did you start doing the fire alarm things?
So I started fire alarm back in 2009, right out of high school, pretty much, and I built up about 7 years of experience working with my dad at that time. Yeah, and then
so you were doing that when you were high?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, right.
When you were,
yeah. So it wasn't as severe as towards the end, but yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I think probably at that time it was still like a party thing.
So how did you get? I think it's like my curiosity, and I don't know if anybody. There might be somebody who's on heroin right now that are watching that will watch this and be like, what does the sobriety look like after? So let's say. The point where you're no longer you're not in a sober living, you're not being, you know, attending meetings or anything, and you're just back to your normal life.
Yes.
What's that sobriety look like? What's it feel like?
So I still go to meetings.
Still go to meetings?
As much as I can. Right now my life is pretty busy. You know, it's all the blessings. You know, I have a pregnant wife that's due in about 3 weeks. I'm juggling one career, also juggling a passion career. And, you know, I've gotten to that point where I feel like I don't need to make the meetings all the time. Whenever the Celebrate Recovery does offer me the opportunity to serve and play in the worship band, I'll catch the meeting then.
Is it death metal?
It is not.
Oh.
I think it's the opposite. It would, whatever the opposite of death metal is.
Life metal?
I don't even think it's metal. Yeah, just worship music.
So you play worship music?
Yes, I do.
Do you dig on that?
I enjoy being of service, and I love worshiping with my church.
But you're not a fan of the genre of...
It is not my favorite. I'll say that. There's a couple bangers, a couple tracks. I'll say that. But to me, it's more the message behind it.
Yeah.
And the fulfillment and the feeling that I get knowing that I'm able to use the talents that I've been given to give back to people.
So we don't have to go too deep onto this topic. I just wanted to like throw this out there, but like I've been told by people when it comes to music, in a sense, they're like, you're worshiping something.
Yes.
All music. So my question to you is,
yes,
you're of the lifestyle of, you're in an actual, are you perform in a worship band?
Yes.
That's worshiping Christ,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And you're doing that. So you're like, okay, that's what, but I'm not a fan of this actual, like the tone, the tempo and everything. I'm not a fan of this like genre of music.
No.
But I'm worshiping.
Right.
What are you doing when you're doing what you're actually doing at Knocked Loose?
Oh, like those kinds of stuff? I mean, I've been pretty mellow lately, but, you know.
I seen the highlights of our bachelor party. He's not mellow.
I don't know. You know, I enjoy a good little mosh pit, you know, a good little. I like sing-alongs and stage dives. Those are my bread and butter right there.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you know, get in the pit, you know. But I got PTSD. I got hurt one time, and now I'm scared. Yeah, I broke my arm in the pit, and now I'm scared.
I feel you
I'll
there. I've got PTSD from the mosh pit too. Yeah, it's funny. It's like kind of when you taking me to that show for your bachelor party. That was my first hardcore show ever. I had never experienced that, and so I mean, you notably right. I was confused. I was like, what is this?
What are they doing?
What are they doing? What is that?
Who are they fighting?
Yeah, who are they? What is that? I'm so
shadow
confused.
boxing.
What are we doing?
Karate to nobody.
but with my punk rock background, like I had like a semblance of like, okay, I think I kind of know what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I went out there and I was like, hey, we're supposed to be touching.
Yeah.
Why is nobody touching? And then I went out there and I got touched and I didn't like it. Like, it wasn't like the touching that I imagined.
Yeah.
You know, it was a punch, a kick,
Yes.
you know, it was I saw stars, you know, it was like, hold on a second. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Daniel was in there too.
Daniel was in there. Shout out Daniel. Yeah.
It got pretty violent.
It was a sight to see. Again, both of their first hardcore shows, and they at one point they're just.
It was a lot of energy.
It was a lot of energy.
And yeah,
shirts were off. People
you
were
know,
flying.
That's what I was a little embarrassed because I had quite a bit to drink, but Joseph was showing me a video like a few days later, and he was like, oh yeah, I got a video of you guys in the pit, and he shows me a video, and I was like, oh no,
what am I doing?
What is that? That fat guy? That's not. Is that me? That's me? Oh no!
It was a good time. Did you have a good time?
I had so much fun.
Mission accomplished. That's what the
so
show. That's what the genre is supposed to provide you.
And I was introduced to that genre by you. Later on, we had this conversation. I think it was like a family gathering or something.
Yep.
And I was like, give me a list.
Yep.
And you gave me like a handful of bands.
Yep.
And I kind of was just going through them. Knocked Loose was one of them.
They were one of them.
And but I feel like they're kind of verging on mainstream. Like like they were on like Jimmy Fallon or something like that the other day.
Definitely. So they're definitely on the up and up right now. I think they've put in, if you follow their history, they've put in a lot of hard work. They're always on tour, and they're always not always putting out music, but the music that they put out is progressively getting heavier and heavier. And I think they just continue to show up and grind and, stay true to themselves. And they put on a hell of a show, man. Yeah. And I think
you just saw them.
I just saw them a week ago, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
So their unborn child just saw Knocked Loose.
Yes.
And that's pretty.
Yeah. I was pretty relaxed for that one. Yeah, I didn't want to go out there. I was just absorbing it and thinking like, man, these guys put on a heck of a show. They're great. I like them a lot.
I'm a fan. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
But I am a fan.
Yeah.
It's one of those genres where it's like I think we talked about it. It's like I have my shit that I'm like this is what moves me. Mm-hmm. And then there's always those things that are kind of like similar.
Yeah.
I think I've showed you a couple things and you're like, that's kind of, but it's like, it's so weird. It's so weird to me that like an arrangement of sounds with different instruments or whatever, you're like, that's it.
Yeah.
But then you hear something else and you're like, no, that's not it.
Well, I think that's the beauty of it too is, the music scene is so accessible And there is such a wide range of all these little subgenres that you can afford to be like, no, it's not for me, you know?
Not for me.
And sometimes you just hear it and you can't explain it, and it just sonically just grabs you, and it doesn't matter how many times you hear those tracks, but they make the hair stand on the back of your neck.
Yes.
And you're like, I've heard this song probably 100 times, and it still does this.
I
What
get
is that?
goosebumps when I hear it. I get goosebumps when I hear it. We talked about this on the other podcast that I'm doing. I had in the most recent Superman movie. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if you guys saw it or not.
I have not yet.
So there's a scene where they're talking about it, and like Superman's like, "I'm punk rock." He says those words, and then at the end of the movie, it ends with him listening to a song by a not punk rock band that is singing a song where the lyrics are, "I am punk rock," which is, I just got thrown off by that, you know, like
weren't feeling it.
You know what?
Superman's a lot of things. Punk rock is not one of them.
No, and yeah, he was like, I'm punk rock, and then like at the end, it ends with him being sung a song that is saying I'm punk rock, but in not a punk rock version. So to me, it's like you're like, oh, this is like, so. For example, Knocked Loose.
Yes.
You're like Knocked Loose. Mm-hmm. So if somebody was like, you know, what would you call that genre?
That's tough because...
Is there a blanket statement that you can give for like the type of music that you are most attracted to that gives you the most like goosebumps and stuff?
Is there a type, at least say
hardcore? What?
Hardcore at its roots is not exactly... for me, like if you break it down to, you know, a lot of people have a different definition of what hardcore is, but if
everybody always does, but what's yours?
I mean, heavy, some breakdowns,
some breakdowns.
We're
gonna call the genre of music heavy, some breakdowns.
Yeah, heavy, some breakdowns. I don't know, some sing-alongs.
But you can't even really, like, if you're like, oh, it's heavy metal,
right?
Oof.
So that's different.
Well, now you're just like, oh, Metallica, Iron Maiden.
Yeah. Well, at this point, that's would be probably like classic metal. I don't know.
It's so funny because my daughter was saying that the other day. She was like, she was talking about this place that she works at. She was like, oh, they play classic rock, and then she shows me, and it's like Rage Against the Machine, Korn, Limp Bizkit, stuff like that, right? And I'm like, that's 90s rock.
Yeah.
That's like 90s rock.
Oh, see, now you're just sitting decades now.
However, if you really like think about it, right? Classic, the definition of classic is anything 20 years or older.
All right, there it is.
Right? So it's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's classic rock now. But holy fuck, I mean, it was not that long ago that, Jesus Christ. But when we were growing up, well, I mean, we're 10 years apart, but even in the 90s,
right,
when you were a kid, classic rock to you was 60s, 70s, right? Like Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones,
yes,
stuff like that, right?
Black Sabbath.
Black
Sabbath. Rest in peace, Ozzy.
Oh. Dude, when I was scrolling through Instagram, when that popped up, it literally put a pit in my stomach.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I didn't even fucking know the guy.
Yeah.
I see celebrities die all the time.
That one hit.
That one hit. Yeah. It was like, ooh, oh, fuck.
Yeah. God
damn it. And he just did that fucking...
Did you catch it?
The
benefit show?
The final, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the replay of it, but
yeah.
But Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
like that fucking dude.
We saw it, and I thought it was great, you know? Like, so thankful that I did, because I was on the fence, you know? I don't want to pay for it. I don't really know.
Oh, you paid for it?
Yeah.
I didn't pay for it.
Yeah, so we made a day out of it, you know? We're going to watch the Black Sabbath concert.
It was so amazing.
Yeah, it was very, very cool.
And he just went out.
Yeah.
And I saw a post where he was saying, he was like, I just don't want to go out quiet. Like, I want to go out doing this.
And he did.
And then he fucking died.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Can we do that? Can I do that? Like when I'm ready to go, can I just go, all right, I'm going to do a show. I'm going to do a podcast, and I want fucking 100 million people to watch it just before I die.
I am fulfilled.
That's what I want to do. Like, holy fuck, who gets to do that?
Yeah.
We definitely got off topic there, but
that's all right.
Sobriety. I think we covered the whole
pretty much. Yeah.
Shabazz.
So yeah, I mean, a thing I could tell people is, you know, it does get easier over time. you know, the more time that I put under my belt and the more time that I gave an honest try at sobriety and made the efforts, you know, because at the beginning I did need those meetings. You know, I did need to stay connected. I did need to surround myself with people who are also in recovery. You know, I feel like, I don't know, I think you just got to give it an honest shot, and it does get easier over time. You know, I still got triggered. I'm not saying I don't ever think about that stuff still. You know, I still get thoughts. But again, those same tools that I was taught back then still apply to me today. What are you doing with those thoughts? Are you sitting on it? Or is the addiction telling you, you know, to keep thinking about it, to keep thinking about using? No, right now, again, it's just a passing thought. Triggers, you know, I don't really get triggered too much anymore. The biggest trigger that got me that was interesting was I couldn't go into a public bathroom stall for probably 2 years without thinking of getting high. You know, as soon as I went to use a public bathroom.
Further.
Well, most of the time when you're out there on the streets, you know,
you get high in a public bathroom.
The safest place to get high is, you know, just a bathroom stall, you know.
So this is a topic about sobriety. However, let's just put that out there. Don't go to public restrooms.
Yeah.
You're gonna run into heroin addicts.
Don't do it.
Just don't use them.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Yeah. So I think I don't know. We'll probably wrap it up here, but I would like for you to just kind of mention the concept of, you've told your story, but what about anybody who doesn't have? What if there's somebody out there that's a Jordan that was in your darkest moment? That person right now is in their darkest moment, and they don't have a Bonnie, they don't have a Frank, they don't have a Kathy, they don't have those things that are those, you know, planting seeds and helping them, letting them live in the garage. They're just on the street,
right?
You know, and then there's nobody that gives a fuck about them. Do you have anything that you can say to, what would you recommend?
So the way you described it, I mean, it sounds like they're the perfect candidate for sobriety. It almost sounds like they don't have anything to lose at this point, except maybe their life, you know? And if you do want to get sober, and again, not just abstain from doing drugs, but if you truly want a life better than the life that you are living, you know,
we for sure know that they're not happy.
Right. Then there are resources available to you, you know, like the foundation for me, and that is how you build your sobriety. The strongest point is your foundation. What are you doing to build on that? For me, it was detox. So get away from everything, shut everything away, rehab, learn about what's really going on inside of you, and then transition to a sober living. Surround yourself with other people who want to better their lives, you know. Stay accountable, you know. In sober living, there's different levels to it. So at sober living, you know, I had curfew, you know. I was like, I'm a child all over again, you know. You better be home by 10 or else you're going to face consequences.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what we need, you know, because we've been trying to live this kind of life, and it's not working. If you're at that point that you're talking about, you know, it's not working. You know, I think that if you're actively using like that, there is hope out there. There are resources out there. Again, there's detoxes, I feel like, everywhere. You know, I know the one that was local to me, and that's the one that I went to.
But also, you called multiple places.
Right.
So there's people out there right now that are calling multiple places. They probably calling one and they get rejected. They're like, oh, well, fuck it. I guess I'm on the streets.
Well, you know, you got to try a little bit harder than that. You have to do the legwork, you know. Nobody's going to get sober for you. You have to put in the legwork.
Yeah.
You know, the opportunities and the resources are there, but only you.
You may not have those God shots.
Yeah. Yet.
But
I truly believe that.
Try harder.
The more effort that you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. You know, I've received countless blessings since I've gotten sober, and I think that that's another reason why it becomes easier over time, is because that life that you talked about, that sober life, you know, and they talk about it in rooms, it's a life beyond my wildest dreams. You know, I never could have imagined being here 5 years ago. You know, it seems like a long time, but it's gone by like a blink, you know. But I've just continued to keep my feet planted, do the next right thing, stay accountable, and just never pick up. You know, that's the first and most important thing, is just don't take that next drug. And what you're going to do from that point on, you know, that's up to you.
Jordan has his own tattoo parlor.
I do. Little private studio out in Garden Grove called The Den.
The Den.
Yeah.
I'm actually currently a client.
He is.
Getting some good
so
stuff
much more
done.
than that, though.
Got a lot of stuff going on.
Yes. Couple big projects.
Definitely. Do you guys have? Does the Den have its own like?
We do not yet. We are still working on branding. We are very new. Again, this is another one of the blessings that comes with sobriety. You know, so we're in the very early stages. Me, 2 other artists. I'm the shop apprentice, and yeah, we're just kind of
kicking ass though. I saw the samurai.
You like the little, what is his name?
It's like
Kylo
Ren.
Kylo Ren. I say it every time.
But it's Kylo Ren Samurai.
Kylo Ren Samurai.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. I like that.
Thank you.
So anyway, we'll wrap it up. I think this is. I mean, we've gone for 2 hours, over 2 hours. So this is good. I'm only gonna cut out very small pieces with the interruptions we had. So everything was good. What is your Instagram?
X Jordan Rivera, Rivera X.
2 X's sandwiched.
Yeah, I'm right in the middle.
Boom.
I'm right in the middle, protected. Jordan
Perfect.
Rivera.
I'm gonna go ahead and on the description of this podcast, I'm just gonna put any links. Do you have any sober livings? Is there anything that you would like me to add to the, like, somebody can click on for information?
Yeah, I mean, we could look and see. I'll do the ones that I've gone to based off of experience. I would recommend, if you're local to Orange County, the Rock Center in Stanton. That's the detox. For the rehab, I would go ahead and say His House. I went to the Upland one. I'll also throw in Salvation Army there, because again, I've seen a lot of people recover from them. There's a lot of different ways to get sober. That is something else. It's not just cut and dry. This is the one way to do it. You know, we all have our different stories, and I feel like different tools work for different jobs, and we all need different kinds of tools.
Yes, for
sure. Right? And then sober living as well. I mean, that's associated with the His House, and those are the ones that I recommend.
Perfect. Beautiful. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you stayed to the end of this, holy fuck. That's like and subscribe. Adios, muchachos.
All right.
That was good.
You were probably one of my favorite guests.
Ah,
I love that so much.